I'll start off with some VCLT. My great friend up in Canada, Rachel, was so kind out of the blue to send me an email and said, "I got something I want to send to you." And it only took 11 days from northwest Canada all the way to the southeastern United States for me to get these. She knows my love of bluegrass, so she sent me, along with a really nice letter or note, telling me about this. She has been buying stuff from someone selling parts of their collection off recently, and the person had some bluegrass. Said she thought of me, so I greatly appreciate that. She knows I love bluegrass. The Nashville Bluegrass Band, and this is called Idle Time. It's glare there. Sorry about that. And Nashville Bluegrass Band is a band that's in the upper echelon of bluegrass groups. I don't know what year this is. It's on Rounder Records, 1986. And Alan O'Brien is the banjo player in there. Mike Copland on mandolin. Mike Humby is the bass player, and Stuart Duncan is fiddler. All those guys are well respected in the music community, both bluegrass and doing Nashville sessions for country artists. So I'm really looking forward to this one. This is really nice. I haven't had a chance to play it yet. I just got it this morning, and I've been cleaning records this afternoon. And the White River Bluegrass Band, she asked me if I had ever heard of them. I haven't. But, that's the great thing about bluegrass music is there's so many local and regional artists that put out albums, or in the past have put out albums, and you can just get some great stuff like this. Well, it turns out this group, I looked them up, there's not much information about them. They have a couple of albums out. One is in French, and I really need to take one of these rappers on it. One is in French, and the other in English. They're a Montreal band, therefore we get the bilingual business coming along here. But it shows how worldwide or universal bluegrass is. A French-speaking bluegrass band or bilingual bluegrass band. Not uncommon. I'm sure it's going to be really good. I can't wait to listen to it. I did get this one for a spin. I'm going to take it out of the jacket. And there's the nice little note that Rachel sent, telling me about what she's sending me here. Now, one thing about bluegrass bands is they're readily identifiable as a bluegrass band because they usually have the word bluegrass in their name, or they have something like mountain or valley or river in their name, and it gives you an idea what they are. Sometimes bands don't pick good names, and it hinders them. In my case, this is one that held true, and I'm so glad I listened to this one today. Rachel sent me this Badfinger album. It came out in 1970, Magic Christian Music by Badfinger, and I've never really listened to Badfinger. Why? Because the name always made me think they were some sort of a heavy metal, hard rock, heavy metal type band. And the other album that came out in 1970, the cover on that one gave me that idea too. I know I heard Badfinger songs, but I never connected what I was hearing on the radio with that band, Badfinger. And, I love this power pop sound from Badfinger. And of course, it was on Apple. Was it Paul McCartney that was the big champion of Badfinger? I'm not sure. She said the cover wasn't in that great a shape. I disagree, Rachel. It's got one hole punch. I don't mind the hole punch, but it's really seams are all good. The color's not faded or anything. Really good. And I really like this album. I love this power pop from them. So I'm going to start listening to more Badfinger, that's for sure. Now, the song that stood out to me, because was the one about Maggie. Dear Maggie, that's it. Dear Maggie. I really like that one. Okay. Rachel, I appreciate it so much. This was so kind, unexpected, and kind and thoughtful of you. So I appreciate it so much. Now, I imagine anybody watching my channel knows Rachel's channel. Rachel's got a great channel, and she's a champion of the vinyl community, I'd say for sure. But if you don't know Rachel, Rachel the Music Man, find her channel and subscribe. You'll really enjoy it. I also bought some new albums in July, and I actually bought these first two in April, but they were on back order because of the pandemic. The presses weren't able to produce the records. They were shut down for a while, so they were, there was a backlog of pressings going on. But filling in my gaps, didn't have many gaps, but filling in my gaps in the John Prine collection. I bought these from John Prine's record label. Oh boy, The Missing Years, great album, and this is on two LPs. I had the CD, but I really wanted the vinyl for all of John Prine's albums. And The Missing Years is a reference to Jesus. What happened to Jesus during that time after he was a young teenager and before he started his ministry. So John Prine, perfect person to do this, imagines what Jesus was up to during, I think it was 17 years, 16 or 17 years, when there's no record of what Jesus was doing. The Missing Years, John Prine, and the other one was For Better or Worse. Which is John and a bunch of female singers. I love this album cover. Duets. It says it's obviously a just married couples. It's just married here. And an old photo looks like from the late 50s, early 60s. She got me this morning, it says here, but I'll get her tonight. And he's got a cigar in his mouth right here, like he is a dude, and she's smiling. Like, who knows what's going through her mind. I believe that's Fiona, John's wife, right there. And there's John, of course. And this came out in 2016, and it's got duets with Iris DeMent, really good one. Who's Going to Take the Garbage Out? Leanne Womack's on here, Alison Krauss, Kathy Mattea, Holly Williams, Susan Tedeschi, Amanda Shires, Miranda Lambert, did I say her? And Casey Musgraves. Nice. It's not original songs by Prine for the most part. It's mostly their covers. And then for Father's Day this year, my daughter got me, actually she gave me some credit on Amazon and said pick out the albums you want, which was great. So my daughter got me Ella Fitzgerald and Louis Armstrong, Ella and Louis. And this is on Verve. Great. Love this stuff. I'm old enough to remember when Louis Armstrong and Ella Fitzgerald were pretty regularly on the television. So I have memories of them. And the other one she got me was Ella Fitzgerald, Like Someone in Love. I love that photograph. Look at that. That is such a early 60s photograph. And this is on Jazz Images. I've got several jazz albums on Jazz Images. Oh, yeah. Love that. And then I always love the soul music. And there's some people out there making soul music these days. And this is the debut album, I think, from maybe 2000. 13 or 14, something like that. It's on Single Lock Records, distributed by 30 Tigers. I don't see a year on here, but I think it's 2013 or 14. It's new to me. It's a new record, and it's new to me. I've got the CD, but like I say, there's certain things I need to get the vinyl for. St. Paul and the Broken Bones, and this is Half the City. I don't know about the cover here. That's Cubist or something. I don't know. Great blues music from Alabama. I'm sorry, great soul music from Alabama. It's not blues, it's soul or R&B. The vocals by Paul Janway. He's St. Paul. Okay. And everybody loves the Beatles in the VC. I've got a lot of Beatles albums, but I noticed when I went through my records, one I didn't have. So I picked this up at a very good price. This is the Giles Martin remaster for Abbey Road. Not a whole lot we can say about that. I mean, it's the Beatles. Everybody should have the Beatles in there. And Sierra Hull she was a prodigy. She's, I think, late 20s now. So she's not a prodigy anymore. She's just a great musical artist. There she is. Her primary instrument is the mandolin. And this is called 25 Trips. And it's on Rounder, is that right? Yeah, it's on Rounder Records. And she produced or co-produced this, a beautiful album. She plays some guitar as well, and it's a very acoustic album. Not a bluegrass album, although she plays bluegrass in many cases. That's her background anyway. But very much a 21st century folk. It seems a trend with the female instrumentalists like her. There's Molly Tuttle and Sierra Jarvis. I'm saying her last name wrong. When they make albums, they jam out with the hard drive in bluegrass, oftentimes live. But when they make their albums, they're very soothing, ethereal. Is that the right word? Help me out here. But kind of a mood is created, and just not jammy at all. I want them to do an album or two every once in a while, where they just break it out and just go for it. All instrumental will be fine with me. But it's a very good album. Not putting it down by any means, but it's not a jam type album at all. And finally, based in large part on the recommendations of John at the Digital Gramophone, I'd heard of this group before, and I had listened to just a little bit, but based on things he said, and after the fact, I watched his video on this group. His Golden Messenger. This is Bad Debt. Bad Debt. This is a merged reissue. I think in the last year or two it came out, but it originally came out around 2010 or 11, something like that. Very, very good Americana album. And I also bought about 15 albums this month on Discogs. I don't usually pay very much for what I get on Discogs. I look for bargains and deals on shipping and things like that. So $3-4 is about as much as I paid for. There might be one key album I'm searching for that I might pay, $7, $8, $10 for, and then I'll buy a bunch in the lower categories, $3-4 records, that sort of thing. The biggest disappointment in what I got was this Neil Young album. I had this Neil Young album back in the mid 70s, late 70s, Journey Through the Past. It's the original soundtrack from a film by Neil Young. Did any film Neil Young ever was supposedly making ever get released? I don't think they ever did. But the record's in good shape. But jacket leaves something to be desired. But it's not. It's just a rambling mishmash of stuff. I mean, I don't mean to put it down. Well, I do, because Neil can do better than that. I don't remember that from this album. Like I said, I had this album many years ago, but there's a lot of. It's like they're working through some of the songs in the middle of the album, and maybe that's supposed to be the vibe he's trying to project there, but it just didn't work. Neil. Neil's crazy. Neil's I shouldn't say crazy, but Neil's eccentric, and he's got thousands of hours of recordings, and sometimes when he does an album, from what I understand, he just takes some old project he was working on and puts it together, and that's his album, and others, the stuff just sits there and never gets released, or gets released years and years later. It's odd. But anyway, you may disagree and think that's a masterpiece. I don't know. But I'm wondering, really, was that movie ever released? I doubt it. But then I got the best of Merle Travis, and this has got, as you can imagine, it's got 16 tons on it. He does a version of John Henry, a really good song I like called Fat Girl. Natural Born Gambling Man, which Doc Watson does a really good version of. Dark as a Dungeon. I Am a Pilgrim, among the various songs on this album. It really, Merle Travis, great guitarist, heavily influenced those that came after him, and Doc Watson named his son Eddie Merle Watson, and Eddie was for Eddie Arnold, and the Merle was for Merle Travis, and he went by Merle, of course. Another old-time country, or 40s, 50s country, was this on Star Day, which was Opry Old Timers. It was a twofer, one side for, well, it's not one side for one artist, one side for the other. They actually alternate on here. Longtime Opry performers Sam and Kirk McGee, and the Crook Brothers. Now, I was well familiar with Sam and Kirk McGee. I have a couple of albums by them. Wasn't really familiar with the Kirk Brothers, but they're very good. And this is a nice album. I really like this one. The album I was going for when I started shopping on Discogs was this one, and I got it for $6 or something like that, I believe. Muleskinners. This was originally a band put together for a public television show, and it's called, as you see, A Potpourri of Bluegrass Jam. It's got the many of the younger generation, the long-haired guys from late 60s, early 70s, Bluegrass, Richard Green, David Grisman, Bill Keith, Peter Rowan, Clarence White on there. And there they are. And so it was originally put together for a production, a television production on PBS, I believe. And they played together in different configurations over the years, but for a little while they played as Muleskinner, the band. I got a couple of banjo albums. Alan Mundy's. Somebody commented they thought they saw this on Instagram, I believe, or no, I was playing in the background one of the videos. When they want to know what the album was, I believe it was this one that was playing, and it's called Banjo Sandwich, which I think is a great name for an album. And the cover is like that brown paper bag you would put a sandwich in. And this, of course, is and it's on Ridge Runner Records. He's again one of those second generation newgrass artists. I got another banjo album, Banjo Histox, from Bill Keith. He was on the Muleskinners album, banjo player. He was one that kind of introduced melodic banjo playing to the genre. He helped Earl Scruggs write Earl's instructional book. He was a member of Bill Monroe's band for a short time, maybe a year or so, which was kind of a rite of passage in the bluegrass world. He is from the Northeast, I forget, Boston or somewhere like that. So he wasn't some guy from the hills that came down or anything. And he's done lots of great work over the years in various band configurations. Bill Monroe said you could only have one Bill in Bill Monroe and the Bluegrass Boys. So he christened Bill, I believe it was Ben Keith. I believe that's what it was. He just wouldn't call him by his name, Bill. When you introduced him from the stage, he would call him, as I say, I believe it was Ben. Ben Keith on the banjo here. So there was a little identity crisis going on there for a while. Now this was an interesting one. This is also on Ridge Runner. The cover's in kind of rough shape, as you can see here, but the music inside is in great shape. And this is Slim Richie doing jazz grass. Again, some what we would consider new grass or Dawg music, music that defies genre and categorizing. And this has got a lot of good folks on it. I'm not going to search out and see who all. Well, Alan Mundy, the Banjo Sandwich album is on here. Sam Bush is on here. Richard Green from Muleskinner. Ricky Skaggs plays on here. Bill Keith, what I just showed you, he plays on here as well. But a lot of artists. I wasn't familiar with this. I just saw it. It wasn't but a couple of bucks because, like I said, you saw the jacket condition wasn't very good, but it plays better than very good. I wouldn't quite call it very good plus because I'm pretty strict with my grading, but I call it very, very good for sure. And along the lines of that Dawg music, that merging or that intersection of jazz and bluegrass and classical music, Doris Anger, and this is Fiddlistics. This has just a top ranked list of performers. He's violinist, fiddler also, obviously. But Mike Marshall, Tiny Moore, David Grisman, Tony Rice, Todd Phillips, and some other folks all play on this album. There he is. And what year was this? This was 79. So he was a member of the David Grisman Quintet. So this was his album from that, rather than it being a Grisman quintet production. So we transitioned from bluegrass from old time to bluegrass to a new grass or Dawg music with heavy jazz influence. We get to violin inspiration. One of my favorite violinists, Stefan Grappelli, and the Disley Trio. I love Stefan Grappelli. And this is, what record label is this on? I think this is a European label of some sort. I don't see it readily available. The name of the record, MPS is the label. And then so we're into jazz, moving into jazz now. And so there's Earl Hunt live at the Village Vanguard. And this is one of those, what's it called, Columbia Jazz Masterpieces. So this is a digital remastering from the analog tapes, which in today's world, I think people would say that it's not a good thing to digitally remaster it. But pretty much everything is digitally mastered now, I guess. But, you know, we like the analog. We tend to think that's a little warmer feeling. I don't know that I can tell the difference if you put the original analog up, played it for me, and then put this digital mastered. I don't know. Maybe, but I doubt it. Early Viper Jive, 1927 and 1933, 16 jazz original. And this is on Stash Records. And it's rare scat vocals. Louis Armstrong's on here. I believe Cab Calloway's on here. But just at least 7 or 8 different, and maybe more, different orchestras and artists. But that's the scat thing, where they just nonsensical. That everybody just, it was crazy at one time. Everybody really enjoyed. I enjoy hearing it. It's really good album. And then this is from a 1955 album that actually played fairly good. It had some surface noise, but this is Coleman Hawkins and his All-Stars, Timeless Jazz. Coleman Hawkins and his All-Stars. So that's a whole album right there. Obviously, it would be mono. It's got Emmett Berry on trumpet, Billy Taylor on piano, Eddie Burt on trombone, Joe Jones on drums, and Milt Hinton on bass. So, Coleman Hawkins from 1955. And then we move into blues. Little Milton. And this one actually played very, very good. Little Milton. And it's called Raise a Little Sand. And it's on Red Lightning. Not lightning, but Red Lightning. With no G at the end. Album compiled and produced by Red Lightning by Pete Schutzer, April 1975. This is a good blues album. And another blues album I got. More contemporary. Showdown. And this is Robert Cray and Copeland, Johnny Copeland, and Albert Collins. This is a really good electric blues album. It's on Alligator Records from what year? 1985, so toward the end of the album era. And finally, here's a shared album with Kokomo Arnold and Petey Wheatstraw, with some old blues on there, piano and guitar blues. And that's on Blues Classic Records, which I believe is a Europe. Well, it's distributed by Orholy. Okay. So there's some records I picked up. And I'll show you a few more. I'll just do a quick flip through. I'm not going to even take them out of the outer sleeve because I don't want this to run way long. It already is. But at a antique shop nearby, went in and they had some records. They wanted $5 for them, which I thought was too much for most of it. But I know the lady and I wasn't going to debate it. But I picked out 5 and offered her $20 for it, and she said I'll be fine. And I came back a week later and did the same thing. The records are in good condition though. Wynn Stewart, Love's Gonna Happen to Me. Huge influence on Merle Haggard. Wynn Stewart, part of the Bakersfield sound, the early Bakersfield sound. George Jones, Alone Again. This is from 76. Bobby Bare from 78. Bare. You don't hear a lot about Bobby Bare these days, but he's still living, and he's got a great catalog of music. Speaking of Merle Haggard, when I spoke of Wynn Stewart, here's Merle Haggard and the Strangers, If We Make It Through December. This is from the mid-70s, I believe. This was in very good condition. 1974. Let's see, I'll save that for a little later. Willie Nelson, Columbus Stockyard Blues. This is a reissue from once he got successful. Pickwick, which is the RCA's budget label. They put this album out to kind of capitalize on Willie's success around 1976. And I will say no artist can hit 100, bat 1,000, or hit a home run each time. His version of Columbus Stockyard Blues is one of the worst I've ever heard. I mean, it's bad. Every other songs on the album are pretty good, but he just does not take on Columbus Stockyard Blues very well. And a very good condition, Willie Nelson, Red-Headed Stranger here. Really good. If you only have one Waylon Jennings album, I would recommend this album, Dreaming My Dreams, because it starts out with Are You Sure Hank Done It This Way? And it closes out with Bob Wills is Still the King. Bob Wills. I always want to say Wells. Bob Wills is Still the King. That's really, and everything's strong in between. This was a sealed copy. The Ventures, Walk Don't Run. This is a reissue from 1970 on Liberty. Jerry Butler, little R&B music here. Mr. Dream Merchant, featuring Lost, 100 Pounds of Clay, Alfie, and Yesterday. Jerry Butler. And the one that caught my eye the most, David Bowie, Hunky Dory. This is a 1971. It's not a reissue from 5 or 6. This is actually 1971. I wish I could say it played flawlessly, but very good minus. It's got a little bit of surface noise in it. If it had played very good plus, it's probably worth what, $40, something like that. As it is, it's not a bad copy, and the cover's not in good shape. Probably worth $10, maybe, something like that, to the right person. Okay, well, that's a look at everything I picked up over the month of July. Everybody, if you will, remember to be kind to your neighbors, and everybody's your neighbor. One more thing before I go, I wanted to make sure I pointed this out. You know how when you used to go to the public library, and they would have records in there, and they would have it in this thick cover. They have a little pocket here for the card catalog, and there it is, for a little card where you'd sign when you check it out. I got a record I got from Discogs. It was in this. If you ever get one of these, or if you have any records in this, take it out and get a regular thin, clear outer sleeve and throw this away. They have found that over time, this particular chemical combination that makes this thick plastic will interact with the vinyl, supposedly, even through the jacket, and it will damage your record. Now, some people may think that's hogwash, but just be on the safe side. If you got them in any of these, toss them, because it may well cause chemical reaction over time and ruin what would be an excellent record otherwise. Okay? See you.